communicate. That's one of the things. 1 toot is for coffee, 2 toots is for food, and then 3 toots is for a council meeting. Here's like the main cooktop, and we just start the fire down here and cook up there. And then here's like our quick rocket stove if we want to like heat water up real quick for tea or coffee. We just like light it in there and it just shoots like a direct stream of fire right there. Here's our oven. Just put everything in there, start the fire underneath, and it heats the whole drum. And this is cob. Here's a nice like skillet. This has been used only for like vegan foods. So it's a nice, you start the fire in there, it's a nice flat skillet, all food prep and everything over here. Leprechaun is chopping up things. So yeah, we have a plethora of food and baking goods, all the other things. There's a little wood chopping seat. I'm not personally very good at it. Matthew's pretty good at it. Dakota's pretty good at it.
All over the place, like this one. Chestnut tree, super sustainable because it comes back every single year and produces lots of protein, fat, good things. Berry bushes all over the place. And then right now this is the wild weed herb jungle with goldenrod, which can be made for teas and things like that. Sumac, it's a sour, slightly medicinal tree, and persimmons, very sweet little orange fruit. Water every single time you use the bathroom. We got either cedar dust or pine dust, so every time you go you just throw that on top of it, keep it smelling fresh, and have compost at the end of
we do have
season too.
electricity in here. It's all solar.
Hopefully soon we'll be able to milk her and be able to get cheese and milk and kefir and whatnot.
Hi, Haley.
And then the little puppy in there
Love
herding
that.
the goat.
On it, and then like a large living area, and probably where it's down in the ground we're gonna have some sort of like cellar or basement. We cleared all this by hand with scythes
And machetes.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. We're probably gonna have like a controlled burn soon to get rid of all the brush and everything, and then we'll be getting cedar posts before too long to actually start the building on it.
It's kind of a focus of ours to get a community cabin going, because especially in the winter when it gets really cold, instead of everybody being isolated burning 8 to 10 wood heaters, we could have one big wood heater being burned and bring everybody together during the winter.
little shower area. It's got, you know, the knob to turn on the water.
Nice to have the rock floor in there.
Mm-hmm.
Warm shower.
I have to clear this out every time.
Find your medicine and
It's
use
so pretty, I have to. Okay, so here's the healing helmet. There's the taters.
Yeah, we just harvested some sweet potatoes, so
Yeah, we did
got
some
those.
like trade labor with a neighbor farm for, we went and helped harvest sweet potatoes, and we got some of his sweet potatoes, and he sent us some nice steak too, some like grass-fed home steak. So he has a healing hut. We've got all kinds of vitamins and things to make
Essential
tinctures and oils and things. And if anyone needs to come here, and so you just fill this tub with water and then start a fire under there to heat the water for a hot shower. And this line is our watershed. So we have a 300-gallon water tank. This is what we use. We'll hook up a hose here to fill up that basin down there that we use to heat showers. That's where we get water for the animals. Our pump supplies 80 gallons every 3 hours. Preference, really.
We got the garden going here. I love this method that we guys mounds. This is about over a dozen mounds, and it's on a slight angle, so whenever the rain comes in, instead of losing nutrients or water, it goes from one mound to another, watering each other, and got pathways in between for convenient picking. And we got just planted a few late summer crops. Got some okra trees down there, chard. Tomatoes are still producing a little bit, and peppers and a few things. Strawberry bushes right here. That's the next garden to harvest sweet potatoes and then get it ready for the spring. Put maybe a layer of mulch over it, so that way we don't really have to go in and till up. You can just remove it back and plant. Down here we got the pond as well. We get logs and inoculate them with shiitake mushrooms, so that's a delicious, sustainable source of food.
Here's our really overgrown spiral herb garden. It needs weeding. We were talking about that today.
That was a project to do for the day.
Yeah. Maybe after lunch, get in here and do some weeding. I'm still like asking everyone, what's this?
How long have you been here?
I've been here 2 weeks. This is my third visit here. I've been traveling through communities for about 2 years now. I came here in the spring. They had a get shit done party where I did a bunch of planting, and we built this herb garden. We dug out the path and put the logs on the bed, and it was a lot of
Other
work.
than like the logs and maybe like a pathway, you guys try to keep it like as natural as possible.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a lot.
We're really leaning towards the permaculture and keeping things mulched as well, so you don't have to come back and weed as much, and it also helps to keep it where it doesn't need as much water, doesn't dry out as quickly, it's more frost tolerant, things like that.
Cool.
This is the water. So I thought this was like the original baby here. And come on in. Lots of different people are on and off and traveling, and there's bunks and the little kitchen area. It has solar panels on top to help. They're working on getting like Wi-Fi access too, so that when we're out traveling, we can provide Wi-Fi for everyone. books and paints and kids, and clearly kids everywhere. It's all just built off of this tree that was left standing, all the supports. It's pretty cool. And it stays cool in here. It's like partially dug into the ground, so it helps like with the temperature moderation. In the winter it stays pretty decently warm. This is a pretty good building project.
So you do your own homeschooling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The garden in Lafayette, Tennessee. It's 8967 Galen Road, and we are an intentional off-grid farm, and we're part of a nonprofit called the People's Project. We're the home-based farm for the People's, one of the home-based farms for the People's Project. It's kind of like the model farm that we're trying to put together all these ideas we have about sustainability and about opening up land to people. It's like free land for free people. And we're trying to create these communities that are completely sustainable and off the grid, that have solar paneling and wells or springs and big outdoor kitchens where people can cook and eat together and appreciate each other. And the kitchen's kind of like the heart of our community. It's really awesome having that and being able to eat all kinds of food and different people's cooking all the time. And we have a big orchard and big gardens, and we're trying to build these type of hub spots all over the country. That's like one of the missions of the People's Project, is to keep creating this kind of idea in different places so that people can travel from one to the other.
Do you know when the garden started and what led to the decision to start the garden?
The garden started about, the 10-year anniversary was last year, so this is going on 11 years, and it started out a group of people who went to rainbow gatherings, and they all decided they wanted to get a piece of land so that they wouldn't have to move, because the rainbow gatherings are in the national forest and they only last 2 weeks, sometimes longer, because they come to set up before then. But then they have to clean it all up and make it look like they never left a trace, so they wanted to get something, so they all threw down on the land together, and we just finished paying the land off actually last year.
Cool.
So do you know what the guiding philosophy is of the garden?
The philosophy is pretty much to create sustainability and to learn how to live in community spaces with other people, and how to communicate with each other, and how to help each other and help ourselves through helping each other.
We've seen some of them in our tour, but what are some of the ways that you think are most important that you guys strive to be environmentally conscious?
Well, we don't use electricity except for solar, and we have a well for water, which is run off of our solar, so we don't have to use a generator or anything for that. We don't use any heavy machinery in our gardens. Everything is done by hand, and we have chickens to have eggs, and sometimes if we have extra roosters, we'll eat them. And we're trying to have our own school here too, so that people can homeschool their children on this property. And we have an Amish water heater for our shower house that's gravity fed down the hill. We heat up the water in there with a wood fired underneath, and it runs down the hill into the shower house. And our whole kitchen is wood fired stove and a wood fired oven, and we have some wood stoves in the converted school buses in the cabins for people in the winter time to keep warm.
Where do you hope to see the garden, or what do you hope to see the garden doing in the next 5 years?
I have seen the garden progress significantly in the last 2.5 years. I've been hanging around here a lot, and I can see it going even further in the same direction. We're just trying to build more of these spots, and we have one in Indiana called Sage Valley. We have one in Interlochen, Florida called Inner Blossom. We have one out in South Dakota that's starting up right now called Two Kettles, with some Native Americans, their reservation land. They're trying to turn it into more of an eco-village and collaborate with us on that. So we're working on all those things, and we've been working festivals to raise funds for the People's Project, and we all have a consensus before the festival. The work crew will consensus on what the money is going to be spent on, like, to progress the mission of the People's Project.
And so what's your policy on like visitors or someone who might want to come here and learn more about what you guys do?
We welcome all visitors for up to a 10-day period, and unless you're causing problems, we can ask people to leave if they're disruptive to the progression of our community in this space. But 10 days, and then after that, if you wanted to stay longer, you can either ask for a extended visit, which would, everything's consensus, like it's everything that's decisions made on this property are all 100% consensus. Everyone has to agree. If one person blocks it, then like we gotta figure something else out. Take interns, or I guess it's we sponsor people after 10 days. You find someone who's we call them facilitators, or we have Raccoon is the other name we give the facilitators, and you find someone that you just get along with and that sees that you can be a helpful person in the community and for the People's Project, and you just ask them if they want to sponsor you, and then we have a council about it, and the whole community will agree on you becoming sponsored by the person. And then after, if you're here for 3 unconsecutive months, like you can come back, but if you've been on this piece of property for at least 3 unconsecutive months, then you can also become a facilitator or Raccoon, and that also has to be a consensus thing.